Good evening, everyone. I'm Vaishnavi Vaiti from Kirin Advisors. Welcome to the virtual roadshow of FlySBS Aviation Limited. Today, we will provide a brief overview of the company and its innovative business model. FlySBS Aviation Limited is a DGCA-approved non-scheduled airline operator offering private jet services to an elite clientele, including corporates, high net worth individuals, HNIs, ultra HNIs, celebrities, and diplomats. It operates under an asset-light model through a combination of dry and wet lease arrangements, providing seamless air travel solutions across both domestic and international destinations. From management team, we have Captain Deepak Parsunaman, Managing Director, Mr. Ambashankar, Whole-time Director and Chief Executive Officer, and Mr. Kanan Ramakrishnan, Promoter and Director. Good evening, all of you. Welcome to the live.
Good evening. Good evening.
From Vibro Financial Services Private Limited, we have Mr. Tushar Ashar, Vice President. Good evening, Tushar sir. Welcome.
Good evening.
Now let's play a short corporate video.
Aviation is evolving. With rising demand for privacy, comfort, and premium service, private charters are no longer just a luxury. They're the new standard for global mobility. At the forefront of this transformation is FlySBS Aviation Limited, a Chennai-based private charter operator redefining how the world experiences air travel. From the Embraer Legacy 600 to globally recognized jets under strategic lease partnerships, FlySBS connects destinations across Asia, Europe, the Americas, and beyond, with finesse and prestige. Guiding this journey are pioneers in their fields. Captain Deepak Parshuraman, Managing Director, a global aviation veteran.
To let you know a little about FlySBS, it's a dream, it's a passion which we are following. Two aspects to the dream. One, extremely safe and efficient way of flying. And second is this preserve of private jet, which has been for the rich and the famous. We want to bring it across to many more and expand it.
Mr. Ambashankar, Director and CEO, whose expertise blends technical strength with operational foresight.
We have traveled across the length and breadth of the country and to major cities and smaller cities, and there are a lot of first-time private jet flyers who have traveled in our aircrafts. And the future holds a big promise in the entire aviation segment, and in particular in the private jets area as well.
Mr. Kanan Ramakrishnan, Director, bringing strategic clarity from the world of luxury and retail.
Indian customers appreciate value, luxury and convenience. If it is packaged and presented as a value proposition, they have always welcomed it. At FlySBS, we endeavor to do that.
What sets FlySBS apart isn't just the aircraft. It's the infrastructure, compliance, and intelligence behind every flight. From AI-enabled scheduling to a robust airworthiness system, every detail is designed for performance and trust.
Hi, this is Smith Mukharia, the Chief Technology Officer of FlySBS Aviation. Here we are going to make sure that we use technology to make sure that flying is much better, easier for everybody who wants to get into private aviation. At FlySBS, we intend to leverage technology and give them a much more seamless and more enriching experience.
As part of our in-flight services, a curated gourmet menu is offered, tailored to preferences and crafted for comfort at altitude. With stringent safety standards, DGCA compliant systems, and round-the-clock crew readiness, FlySBS ensures every journey is seamless, secure, and superior. Driven by vision, powered by expertise, FlySBS is not just flying. We're soaring into the future of private aviation.
FlySBS Aviation.
Fly anytime,
Anywhere.
Thank you. Now I hand over to Deepak sir to tell us journey of the company. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, hi. Thank you. Thank you all for joining this webinar. So at the beginning, we would like, as we said in that small corporate presentation of ours, we have been researching this market since 2017-18. It has been seen that private jet has been perceived as something very expensive and not affordable. and that remained the preserve of the rich, famous, and the celebrities. Now, we did do dive deep into this. From 2016, we have been seeing a paradigm shift where people have been trying to see whether they can charter a plane for their travel. And come 2020, COVID, the advent of COVID in the late 2019 and 2020, people were paranoid to go through a common transportation. Initially, the airlines were shut, there was no way to fly. That's when people started exploring to see if they can hire a private jet. And then they realized that it is not that expensive as it is perceived to be. It is well within their reach. And with that came into this private jet market a huge diaspora, which expanded the market many folds in this short span. So as always, there was a demand to supply was always skewed. And with this coming in post COVID, the larger market, I mean, today take MSMEs, trading communities, standalone business units, for them to spend 2-3 crores in a year is not a big money. So this huge market growth happened overnight between 2020 and 21. So the gap between the demand and supply grew wider and wider, which is where we saw the opportunity. And so in May 2020, we registered the company, and September 2020 onwards, we became operational. Can I say?
Yeah. So establishing an airline company and getting the air operators permit is a long lead, thing, and we'll have to form the company, get the necessary approvals, get the aircraft import, done. It takes generally a 2 to 2.5 years time. So while we were on the process of doing all these things and finally getting our approval, we wanted to start the commercial operation of the of our business, and we wanted to be present in the market, and we wanted the customers to be aware about our presence. So that's why we have taken an aircraft from the Indian registered operator on a wet lease basis or a block charter basis, and we identified the clientele, and we packaged value added services and presented it to our client and commenced our business operation. And that's how it grew. And while we have the presentation, while we are running through the presentation, we can explain more in detail that what our journey so far. And can we go on to the presentation?
Yes, sir. We'll start with the presentation.
Yeah. Yeah, as Captain said that we are our endeavor is to making the private air travel more accessible for more number of people, and that's what our the vision and mission. And so we are we are quite convinced that India, its time has arrived that where more number of people are interested to avail such services, and we are here to cater to their demand. Next. This is a small compilation of what we have done so far. We started in 2020. We got our air operators permit by mid of December 2023, and we have got our dry lease aircraft, first dry lease aircraft imported by mid of 23, and it started becoming operational after we got our airline permit. From January 24 onwards, it's been fully put into use. And we have got the one aircraft under dry lease and the two more on the wet lease. And we have we work closely with the channel partners, and we have flown close to around 2,600 plus hours, and the and 1,800 plus hours we have done international flying to our clientele. So this is the compilation of what we have done so far. Next. These are the various milestones what we have achieved. 2020 we commenced our operation. 2022 we started our international the operation as well. 23 we got our dry lease aircraft imported, and we also got our airline permit by end of the year. And in 2024 our organization, we have got our CAMO approval, that is continuous airworthiness maintenance organization approval from DGCA. This is very significant because we have got the complete oversight of maintenance and the standards, in house, that is essential for an airline to function safely, without any violation in terms of operations. Next. We have almost traveled to the length and breadth of the country, and we have connected a lot of tier 1, tier 2 towns with key metropolitan cities. And we also have traveled extensively, almost 26 countries we have traveled in our aircraft with our clientele, which is almost all the 6 continents we have flown. And yeah, next. This is the this is our board, and headed by Captain Deepak Parashuraman, comes with the wealth of the aviation experience of close to 3 decades, and Mr. Amba Shankar comes with more than 2 decades of experience in luxury automobile, and myself Kannan Ramakrishnan, and I also come with more than 2 decades of experience with products and services related to the luxury industry. Mr. K. Raghuram, again a very seasoned person, having dealt more than 30 plus years, worked for brands like Mercedes, Honda, and Lexus. And Ms. Divya Mohan is a practicing company secretary, and Mr. Vaidyanathan is a ex banker and a veteran in the industry. So this constitutes our board. Next. So we operate with the asset light model. We don't own the asset. We take the assets on either on a dry lease or a wet lease. But going forward, our endeavor is to add the aircrafts under dry lease. In the following slides, we will explain that what is the difference and how the dry lease is more beneficial to the operation as well as to the organization. Next. Yeah, so in dry lease, we just pay the lease rental, for the metal alone, for the aircraft alone to the lessor, and rest, crew, maintenance, insurance, operations, ground handling, fuel, everything is directly dealt by us. And in the wet lease, that the operator has the complete rights of all these things. He provides the aircraft along with the crew, and he takes care of the maintenance and everything. And he charges one rate for which encompasses all these services together. But the difference is that dry lease, we have the quiet enjoyment of the asset or its entire lease period, which means that 24 bar 7 365 days the asset is under our control, and we can use the way in which we want, how much ever we want, we can fly the aircraft. But on the wet lease, it comes with some limitations beyond the agreed number of hours. If you have to fly, then the commercial rates changes, and so, and plus, as a policy within the company, we operate dry lease model aircrafts with multiple set of crews. And as I mentioned, this aircraft is completely available at our disposal. We can use it to how much ever we want. So which means that we can entertain more number of inquiries, provided we have a multiple set of crews, because the flight duty time limitation should not come on the way to maximize our utilization of the aircraft. But whereas these flexibilities are not available with the wet lease. Next. Next. Yeah, this our market penetration strategy. Of course, we work directly with the our known clientele, word of mouth, and also currently the Indian market, for the private jet, is also quite influenced by the channel partners or the brokers or travel agents. So we have such empanelment of travel agents and brokers. 12 plus people are there in our in our empanelment, with whom we work very closely as well. And the one interesting fact is that close to 90% of our business comes from the existing clientele, which means two things is very clear. We are in a position to identify a right target client who has got a continuous need for using such services. And we while we provide the services to them, we have been doing something good. That's the reason the customer is coming back to us time and again. Next. This slide try to compile the entire process, what is required from a customer comes in contact with our sales, and finally the flight is getting activated. So this clearly shows through the entire value chain. Lot many touch points are there. Lot many people have to work, seamlessly. The communication need to get exchanged across this the chain, so that we can activate a flight effectively. Next. Sorry. Next. Okay, so we are yeah. So in our organization, safety and quality standards comes top, and we pay utmost attention to this, and which is we consider this as the most important aspect of our entire business. So as I mentioned earlier, our organization is certified by DGCA to have our own continuous airworthiness management in house, which means that when our aircraft is serviced with the DGCA approved maintenance, repair, overhaul organization service center, for the better understanding, I'm using the word service center. So when it is getting attended, the oversight of the maintenance is available in house, and plus we also have DGCA certified quality management team inside, so they undertake to verify and certify the quality of the repairs, whatever has been maintenance, quality of the maintenance, quality of the repairs, whatever has been carried out in the aircraft. So we I mean, apart from that, they also undertake the operational standards being practiced to its to. And so as I mentioned, in our organization, quality and safety takes the paramount importance. Next. Next. Yeah, in the previous slide, as I mentioned, that we were trying to explain that we are getting our aircrafts maintained with DGCA certified MRO, and the oversight of that is with us. And plus we have close to around 24 the people are there, which includes the operating crew as well. And in this slide we are explaining that the funds raised through this IPO will be utilized for our fleet expansion. We are planning to expand our fleet in three categories. On type 1, which is a 13-seater aircraft, which is a large cabin size, and which has an endurance, that is non-stop flying of anywhere between 6 to 6.5 hours with the full capacity and load. And the type 2 is the mid-size cabin, which is typically a 8 to 9 seater aircraft, and which has an endurance, that is non-stop flying capability of 5 hours. And the type 3 is the smaller cabin aircraft, which has got a 6 to 7 seater capability, and has got a endurance of flying non-stop close to around 4 to 4.5 hours. And this is what we are planning to induct, and the total 6 aircrafts we are planning to add to our fleet. Next. This matrix gives an idea that how many what you call departures we have done year on year. Last year we have done close to 479 departures, and we have covered so far 340 unique destinations. And this is the other chart provides the number of the crew what we have in our role. Next. Okay, this is a comparison of the revenue streams earned through dry and wet lease. Of course, the 24 FY24, only one one quarter impact of the dry lease contribution is there. In FY25, the dry lease aircraft has fully been utilized, and its contribution is there. As our fleet grows, with more number of dry lease aircrafts are getting inducted, the contribution to the revenue from the dry lease aircraft will also improve significantly. Next. So this is this graph gives us an idea about the revenue mix from domestic and international. And we can very clearly understand that the international travel is growing, and also it provides us a significant contribution. So we are good in it. We have done multiple trips for our clientele across the length and breadth of Africa, length and breadth of the Europe, and the Asia, I mean Southeast Asia. We have flown almost uh, 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 almost close to
26.
more than 26 countries across all this region. And we have done tours for our clientele, which spans out for more than 20 to 30 days time, also with multiple countries, hopping on hopping out of multiple countries. So we are good at it, and we'll continue to focus on the international charters. Next. This is the interesting slide that as I mentioned, close to around 90% of our business comes from the repeat clients, which means the clients are satisfied with our offerings and services, so they are coming back to us time and again. And as the fleet size grows, that will be utilized to get more number of the newer clientele, so our client base also can increase. And of course, over a period of time, that I mean, this concentration risk also is being taken care by expanding the base. Next. So this is a revenue split between HNIs and corporates. And the popular myth about this business amongst the commoners are, this has been utilized always by the celebrities and the political class of people. But whereas in reality, and it is the UHNIs, corporates, industrialists, business people, they are the one who uses these services more often. And the contribution from the celebrities and the political class of people are really minuscule. Next. This business has got an inherent entry barrier. Of course, this is a highly regulated business, and the regulator the highly regulated sector, and the approvals takes a longer time, in terms of getting the air operators permit and becoming operational. Minimum 1.5 to 2 years is somebody has to put in the efforts. And apart from that, getting an asset, private jet, used private jet on dry lease, is a very difficult challenge. And the challenge is more complicated, is because of two reasons. One is the number of such pre-owned assets available in the global market is the overall numbers also is pretty less. And second thing is, not many lessors are available to do the private jets on a commercial leasing basis. So that is why we have to have a deep network, and to get connected with the right people, right set of lessors who are interested in terms of doing private jets under lease. So that is where our efficiency comes into. And captains, the deep connect with the industry also helps the organization to get the right assets. Next. Next. So this talks about the overall global aviation industry, and the interesting takeaway is that globally the aviation industry is estimated to grow between 6 to 8% CAGR in the next 3 years time. Next. And the what do you call the India's aviation market is in the fast trajectory of growth, and it is expected to grow at 24 20 more than 20% in the next 3 years time. Currently, whatever what do you call we have recorded around 18 billion US dollars business, is expected to touch 50 to 55 billion-dollar business by 29. Overall, when the aviation industry grows, that's positive rub-off effect will also always be available for the general aviation or private jet business as well. Next. This talks about in India the growth, how across domestic and international passengers also happens. So that is the very important thing. Next. So this is the overall market size of the private jet. We have recorded around 274 million US dollars business, in the FY24, which is estimated to touch, 500 to 550 million dollars in the next, few years time, and with a growth rate estimated at, 13 to 15% year on year. So that's really, interesting. And the potential with India becoming larger, largest economy, fourth largest economy, and growing further to become a third largest economy, and with all the growth drivers are intact. So definitely, there is a huge scope, for this business in India. Next. Just to give a comparison, and for the size of our country, and the size of our economy, there are only 115 to 120 aircraft, jet engine aircrafts are available in India, out of which only 70 plus are commercially available for charters for the clients, whereas US, the same thing is, close to around 15,800 aircrafts are available for commercial charter. So that's the kind of, the difference, what is there, and which will clearly, show what is the kind of scope, for improvement is available, in this business. Next. This is the market share pie, and there are few players are there who have got multiple assets and into the charter business, and most of them are situated either in Delhi or Bombay. In South, there are very few, and couple of them are only available, and that too, they are based out of Telangana, Hyderabad, and in Karnataka, Bangalore. And in Tamil Nadu, we are the only player, to offer such services on commercial basis. And we have already commenced, 34 percentage market share, in South. And our aim of expansion of the fleet is, to be present in other key markets where the potential for such business is pretty high, and we would like to be present over there. Next. So there are strong, the drivers are there, the strong demand, is there, and infrastructure and accessibility, what has been taken by the government, as an initiative to increase the airports across tier 1, tier 2 towns. It helps us, because even the airports have been launched in tier 1, tier 2 cities. The connectivity offered by the commercial airline is either very less, or at very in very odd time. So that's why, the private jets comes handy for the clientele who have got the business and the need to travel to such locations, and that is another interesting factor. And see, the cost and value proposition, Indian consumers always, welcomed, anything, a lifestyle or luxury, any product or services is packaged and presented to them as a good value proposition. They are not cost conscious, they are value conscious. If we can present it, with the right packaging and at a right value, there are people, to appreciate and accept it. Next. We have done a small comparison, 12 to 13 people undertaking a, 10 to 12 hours of journey in a commercial airliner in first class, and the cost vis-a-vis that same, 12 13 people traveling in our aircraft, to a similar destination. The cost, if you look at it, almost same, whereas, the advantages what they get in a private travel, the flexibility, convenience, and comfort is way above the comparison, in comparison to the commercial airline travel. Next. Next. These are financial highlights, and if you can see that, we have grown, year on year, and particularly that the higher growth in revenue has been achieved between FY24 to 25, is basically an account of, the full year operation of our the dry lease aircraft and its contribution, and apart from that, our focus on to the international charters as well. Next. There's some of the key ratios. Next. Next. It's a detailed presentation about our P&L and balance sheet and the cash flow statement. To summarize that, the core business trends are, of course, this business is run by experienced promoters. Like I mentioned that, Captain Deepak Parashuraman comes with a huge, the aviation expertise, and also he's been well networked into the aviation, OEMs and leasing community. And plus myself and Ambashankar comes having served, for brands, associated with lifestyle and luxury for very long years, and we have dealt with the HNI customers. We know about, their requirements when it comes to the matter of, providing them the service what they would expect, and how we can delight them and win their, the businesses repeatedly. And second thing is the strategic position in a high entry barrier industry. As I mentioned that, the high entry barriers are very strong, and somebody wants to get into this business, a minimum, 2 years of wait, is must. And so that is the kind of entry barrier what we have in the system, in the business. And we have an in-house fleet. We are expanding with our own dry lease aircrafts further, and that gives us the flexibility to undertake travel, and also satisfy more number of clientele and expand our operations. And lastly, and the synergies what we derive from our group company Afcom Holdings, which is an international cargo airline, and which operates two Boeing 737 dash 800 freighter aircrafts. It's a large commercial aircraft operation, which means that the size and scale of its operation is also large, and the key manpower, the strength is also large, and the expertise, knowledge, and the economics of scale, because of its large operation, what that company could achieve, is also benefiting FlySBS operation in terms of knowledge sharing, in terms of passing on that the useful information, and also a little making the vendors to pass on the same commercial for this operation as well. And this benefit none of the existing Indian operators who are our competitors have got presently. This is a very unique advantage what our organization has got. Next. See, our growth is, we are targeting to achieve our growth through fleet expansion and the market expansion, and also introducing the technology. And so going forward with a larger fleet, and being having present across the country. So we are planning to have the technological interventions to make the business also more robust, and also provide the ease of connecting with us for the clientele. Yeah, next. So this is the summary of various the points whatever we have discussed. We just summarized that what are the what do you call key investment rationals. And say position in a high entry barrier industry, premium clientele and high repeat business, proven global operating reach across the continents, and scalable and asset light business, healthy financial performance, and strong operational and compliance framework, and technology driven efficiency growth, early mover advantage in the growing market, and experienced promoters and strategic backing, and synergetic group ecosystem. So this is what we feel that 10 key factors to our the organization. Next. Over to you, Mr. Tushar.
Yeah, good evening, and thank you, Mr. Kannan, for the detailed presentation of the business of the company. And this is the issue highlights of our issue.
Tushar sir, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, now it's audible. Yeah.
Yes,
So
sir.
our issue size is 45 lakh 57,000 equity shares, out of which QIB portion is 21 lakh 61,800 shares. On the non-institutional investors, 6 lakhs 49,800 equity shares. Individual investors will be offered 15 lakh 15,600 shares. and market maker portion is around 2,29,800 shares, and issue is opening from 1st of August and closing on 5th of August. I request all the investors participation to this particular issue. Thank you. And these are the agencies involved in the this particular issues.
Thank you. We will start with the Q&A session now. I request all the participants to post their questions in the comment box. So first question is from Mr. Sarang. How is seasonality in your business, H1 versus H2, which is heavy or both are similar?
See, generally the demand side is very high. The demand is what you call consistent over the a year. However, there are some spike in demands during the festival season, during the marriage season, and during, of course, the IPL season as well. So these are all kind of enhances the demand during that particular time period. Otherwise, the demand is consistent over the year.
Okay. Next question. Asim, what is the revenue per aircraft per month?
So the revenue per aircraft per month would vary depending upon the cabin size. But with the going by the existing the Riley's aircraft, it is somewhere in the range of around 6 to 7 crores revenue per month.
Next question. Rohit Behrpani. Sir, would you be able to share per hour charges that we ask our clients to pay, both for domestic charter and for international separately? I don't want exact numbers, just an idea.
So as I mentioned to the earlier question, that the charges would vary depending upon the cabin size. Smaller cabin has got a different rate, and large cabin has got a different rate. Large cabin is typically we charge somewhere in the range of around 5.5 to 6.5 lakhs, and plus the ground handling charges, crew stay, and all charged separately to the client. And international, in addition to this, and non-flying days, we will charge additionally, and also the ground handling and lounge access and other conveniences, overflying charges and other conveniences, whatever we provide to the client, will also be charged to them.
Next question. Average flying hours in a month.
Sir, we have estimated, our internal estimated to use the asset minimum 65 hours per month, every asset. But in reality, the weighted average what we have achieved so far is around 74 hours. And these machines can be pushed even further because of the demand is pretty high. But we need to operate the aircrafts with multiple set of crew, because flight duty time limitations really should not hamper the more schedules we could perform in a day. So that is why, as a policy, we operate our aircrafts with multiple set of crews. Next.
From IPO proceeds, we are going to welcome 6 new aircrafts. So when we will get first one and last one, 6 aircraft.
Yeah, from the IPO process, we intend to add 6 pre-owned aircrafts to our fleet, and we will be completing this the addition of the entire 6 aircrafts within the end of this financial year, before the end of this financial year. And we hope to get at least 4 out of the 6 to join our fleet before the end of this calendar year.
Next. Nikhil, reason for increase in security deposit from financial year 24 to 25.
Sir, we have see what we have done, as I mentioned during my presentation, and getting the right asset at the right price point, and getting it leased is a pretty challenging task in this business. That's one of the key success factor we would say. So we have started our journey about that. And we have because we know for sure that if we have to wait for the IPO to get over and then we start the the activity it will further, push the timelines. So we wanted to, shrink as much as possible. That's why we started searching for the aircrafts. The aircrafts, whatever we have identified, we have put in deposits and blocked those aircrafts, and that is the reason it has gone higher.
Next, Yash Mistry, what are the key benefits of operating under an asset-light leasing model in private aviation space?
Under what leasing model?
Asset light leasing model, what are the benefits?
Okay, ma'am, there are two parts to this question. The entire business model per se is asset light. The advantage comes here twofold. That the purchase of aircrafts is a large capital outlay and remains locked for a long period of time. In the lease process, yes, we have an entry into service cost for each aircraft. That is our capital spend. However, after that, it's only lease rentals, which we are able to pay out of the revenue. So that makes it a lot more affordable. Otherwise, if I were to buy 6 planes on an average price between 100 to 125 crores, my initial capital outlay will be somewhere 700-800 crores at the outset, which is now being done at a smaller amount. Point number one. Point number two, it does not matter whether the aircraft is owned or leased. End of the day, the market price per hour of flying remains the same. So we feel that the asset light model, our capital outlay is low. Predominant of the lease rentals, apart from the entry into service cost, gets paid out of the revenues of the company. And thirdly, that provides us a much larger flexibility instead of carrying such large assets in the book. Maybe changing of the aircraft, renegotiating it, a different model, as the case may be, it provides us a lot of flexibility.
Okay. Next question. Nikhil Shah, reason for increase in advances to suppliers from financial year 24 to 25?
Well, I would, Kanan sir, can I take this question?
Okay.
It's a financial question. Well, he is much sharper in the numbers, so I'll let Kanan answer this question.
Reason for increase in advance to suppliers from 24 to 25. Yeah, so we have taken, extensive, you must have seen that, our contribution from the international charters also increased. We also told that we have flown to many, countries. So whenever we fly to the, overseas and we operate to multiple destinations, we love to take, a lot of, services from the respective countries where we go on land, So certain, I mean, these are all, some of the countries for the first time we have flown. So we have to, leave certain advances, to complete the entire thing. And that's the reason it has increased.
Next question, please. Reason for increase in prepaid expenses other than IPO related from financial year 24 to 25?
Reasons for increase in prepaid expenses other than IPO related. No. See, okay, whatever we had spent till the time we got our air operators permit. So those things have been, capitalized and taken to the pre-operative expenses and been amortized over a period of, the lifetime of or the lease period of, the asset. And that is what has happened. That is the reason that, it has increased. Yeah.
Okay. Next question. Asim, when we get the revenue output from the first new aircraft and also from the sixth aircraft, and how much is it from a single aircraft in single month?
So, I mean, if I understand the question right, that, he's asking when the aircrafts will be inducted. As I mentioned that, we plan to induct all these 6 aircrafts before the end of this financial year. And we are targeting out of, the 6, at least 4 aircrafts will be inducted, before this calendar year, which means 4 aircrafts, the revenue will be available for us, on the last quarter of this financial year. And for sure that the next financial year, the entire, the 6+ aircrafts will, add to our revenue contribution.
Okay. Next question. Pujant Invest, as you operate across 6 continents, what is the longest flight you have operated and how does the planning for that has been done?
So, yeah, please.
Uh, no, ma'am, we have an extensive operations team. We have an operations control center and a maintenance control center. Apart from this, it also works with a network of agencies. We have flown to a lot of destinations. If I can remember, the longest flight would have been to Guam Islands, which almost touches extreme east of the earth, but still falls inside the United States territory, just beyond Fiji Islands. So it is a very professionalized business. It's a very laid out process, and we have the right people and the processes to execute these properly. This is yours.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Can we move forward to the next question? Mukesh Panjwani. The private jet markets is growing fast. What market share are you aiming for in the next 3 years?
So we don't want to give sound any the forward looking statement, but with the kind of asset expansion and our the plan of being present across the country, we will definitely look forward for a significant market share.
Next question. Pankaj Roberts. How quickly you can be flight ready for domestic flight and international flight?
So we have done flights in domestic has short notice as 4 hours, and some international flights we have been airborne on as short notice as 6 hours.
Okay. Next question. Mukesh Panjwani. What sets you apart from the other charter operators, brand, service, or pricing?
Okay, let us be clear on a couple of things. So we are not talking pricing here. The only differentiation we have been able to bring into this market is that so far a private jet was always looked as a transportation, a comfortable transportation and a convenient transportation. That is how it always operated until we came into the market, and we have bought in the concept of making it a bespoke luxury experience. To be in a private jet, of course, we are transporting you from point A to point B. It has its conveniences, but to go beyond, understand the client's individual needs and preferences, and to tailor a product which is an experience by itself is what we have been able to do. And that is evidenced by the fact that 90% of our customers are repeat customers.
Okay. Next question. Cogent Invest, which is the most common route to do you regularly operate for domestic and international markets?
Sir, I mean, most common, of course, we have flown to almost, all the cities, in the country. But most common would be obviously, to Delhi, Bombay, and Hyderabad, Ahmedabad. These are all the places, we have flown, very frequently. And in the international, of course, to the Middle East, and we have flown many times to Africa, and many countries in Africa we have flown multiple times. We have flown to many countries in Europe multiple times.
Okay. Next question, please. Rakshit Shetty, revenue and PAT guidance for financial year 25.
Sir, the full year operation of these assets, existing assets are in place, and the dry lease aircraft has been further pushed, because by mid of last year we have added additional set of crews also. I mean, currently we have a full 3 set of crew for operating our dry lease aircraft. So the contribution from that also has improved, and plus, as I mentioned, we are targeting that at least 4 of the intended 6 addition of fleet will contribute in the last quarter of this financial year. So we can definitely double than what I mean, closer to the doubling of the revenue whatever we have done.
Okay. Next question. Martha Roberts, can you give idea about what is typical per flight crew? Do you keep both pilots and cabin crew?
Sorry, a set of crew means that one pilot, one co-pilot, and one cabin crew, and that's what we operate it. but there are times on customers specific request, and we have flown, two crew and a second crew as a, I mean, along with the passengers in order to aid, them for on a long haul flight as a cabin service agent.
Okay. Next question. Cogent Invest. If someone has to book the flight with you, what is the typical process for that and how quickly a slot can be arranged?
No, as we said, ma'am, to our clients, we are on domestic sectors, we have flown off as quickly, shortly as 4 hours, and in some international sectors as short as 6 hours. So get in touch with us, ma'am, and you don't need to worry about any formality slots. Everything will be taken care by us, and in the shortest span, we'll be ready to fly you.
Okay. Next question. Tanish Shinde. How does FlySBS plan to scale operation with its current infrastructure and workforce?
Yeah. So, see, with every additional, the aircraft induction, obviously the crew required. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, multiple set of crews will be utilized, per aircraft, and the crew required, the crew will be, recruited, and overall, the operations, depending upon the, the manpower load, we will expand. But the base structure, does not, because to function as an airline, whatever is required as a key post holders and the structure is all in place, and that's why we got our air operators permit. And as the operation is getting scaled up, in the operation side, in the flight dispatch side, and in the operating crew side, there will be additions corresponding to our fleet expansion.
Okay. Next question. Sumit Pawar. How do you protect the privacy of your VIP clients who use your services?
So we are extremely confidential about who our clients are or where they fly. This is a given in this industry.
Next. Shantanu. What factors have contributed to the sharp increase in revenue and PAT between FY23 and 25?
Yeah, 23 to 25, as I mentioned, sir, 23, FY22 end or 23 beginning, we started focusing on the international charters. Then the FY23, the focus was further enhanced, to do multiple, the international charters for our clientele. And that has contributed to the revenue growth, 23 to 24. And in addition to that, FY24, there is some 3 months impact, revenue impact of, the our dry lease, the operation also has kicked in. And 24 to 25, the full year, the revenue contribution of the dry lease aircraft is embedded. And plus, our efforts into the international charters also has yielded us a better results, from that, domain as well.
Next question. Mampa Roberts. What are the stages at which pre-IPO has been done and average cost of allotments to them?
So we have done, in the last, in the last 1.5 years, we have done, close to 3, pre-IPO allotments, and the details are given. The share capital built up, is in detail explained in the RHP, and I don't have that, the information offhand, but it is all available in the RHP, which is there in the website.
Nikhil Shah. From when can we start seeing revenue occurring from the 2+6 aircrafts?
Yeah, as I mentioned, sir, that the new aircrafts will contribute from on a very conservative basis from the last quarter of this financial year.
Okay. Next question. At a PAT of rupees 28.41 crore in financial year 25, the PE works out to over 13.2 million. How do you justify this multiple of a non-scheduled operator in a capital-intensive and niche segment?
Sorry, there was a disturbance. Okay, P works out to over 13.7. How do you justify this multiple for a non-scheduled operator in a capital intensive niche segment? Sir, it is definitely capital intensive, but not to the extent of owning the asset in a business, because we are an
That's
asset
why we
light.
said
That's
asset
why we
light.
said that we are an asset light model. So it is, if you look at it, that the capital employed in our business for inducting the operating asset and its asset recovery and asset payback period is pretty much within the what do you call by often you switch off the no Chrome.
Sorry
I'm
about
sorry,
that.
um, okay, so the capital deployed for induction of an asset under the dry lease model, and in comparison, and its payback period is pretty much on a lesser side compared to owning an asset, number one. Number two, we are into a growing business, and it is quite natural that when the capacity is enhanced, increased, and the revenue growth is definitely is possible, because we have clearly demonstrated that what is the kind of demand available in the market, and that is the reason.
Okay. Next
Next.
question. Nikunj Patil, with a strength of 24 people, our company is clocking nearly 200 crore revenue. So why don't other players jump into this category? Are there any entry barriers very strong?
Two or three things, ma'am. One is that there is very strong entry barriers. But if you want to start today, it's going to take you 2 years plus by the time you get your air operator's permit and getting the right asset, because pre-owned assets are very difficult to get. New assets have a 3 year lead time before they are delivered. That's point number one. The second question is why so many people are not coming into it. I would say as the market is growing, there are two, when people see such stories, they will get into it. To give a classic example, the low cost carrier model was there worldwide 35 years before Captain Gopinath decided to start it in India. Thereafter, every operator in India is a low cost carrier. So that will happen. But what I would say is that the size of the pie is large and there's room for many more players. They should come.
Okay. Next question. I assume you will be operating on working on client advances for the booking. So why do we see trade receivable of around 20 CR in the books? If you can give idea what is it, it will clear our thoughts.
Okay. See, generally, okay, 90 percentage of our business, has come from the repeated clients, which means we are already working on a relationship, with the existing clientele. And we also have mentioned that, a majority of the revenue has been, from our international charters. So during international trips, generally what happens is the client plan for certain, couple of destinations, and, they start the journey, and during the course of the journey, that because of their business requirement, they either extend it or they go to the additional places, and for which the additional billing has to be generated. And third important thing, that the international trip, the bills related to ground handling and various other services availed or provided by us to our clientele, we get the vendor bills with a lead time. It's slightly a longer also. So, and only when we get all those things, we could close the trip and raise the invoice and collect the balance. And you are right. And if if there is a client coming to us new, and if we are operating for them for the first time, and most of the times the money is collected in advance, or a substantial amount out of the trip cost is collected in advance.
Next question. Prathamesh Gandhi. What's driving higher working capital needs, and how do you plan to fund any shortfalls, especially in tough conditions?
Sir, I mean, the working capital requirement, is been current working capital requirement has been justified with, the financial institutions' participation, and with the additional capacity being introduced, whatever the requirement in terms of, additional working capital, that also can be met, through the banking institutions' support, and we don't see a challenge. And the need for working capital is essentially because, and we want, while we set for a new trip, we have to, pay for, many agencies in advance to undertake the trip, and that is the reason the working capital is required. Next.
Next, Mukesh Panjwani. How do you handle fuel price and currency changes with so many international flights?
Sir, the international flights, the prices are kind of, given, closer to the trip only. So the time frame between our quote and, the trip, actual trip is not that long. So I think, the currency fluctuation there, it is something manageable. And with regards to the fuel price, and if it is beyond a threshold of 5% from the quote and, to the actual travel, this industry practice is, is passed on to the client.
Next question, Nikunj Patil. Are we targeting corporates and MNC as customer? What is the current revenue from this segment, and what is the potential revenue which can be earned?
Sir, we are mainstay of, the focus and mainstay of business comes from, the corporate customers and ultra high net worth individuals only, and our focus will remain, in that direction. When we add on, additional assets to our fleet, we will continue to, focus on, getting more such corporates and UHNIs as our regular clientele. It will help us, to expand the base from the current level, but the direction will be in that.
Okay. Next question, Ram. What is the margin differential between dry and wet lease?
So the margin difference is, on account of two factors, sir. One is that, as I have mentioned during my presentation, wet lease, it limits your operational, potential, and because of which, for the, capital deployed, what is the leverage you can take? There is a mismatch there, or rather, I would say that, there is a potential which is untapped, whereas that, problem is not there in the dry. So as much as the demand is there, we have the flexibility to use, and, so that our capital deployed can be, leveraged. Number one. Number two, the margin difference is, in terms of selling price is not there, but in terms of, the cost of operation, it is different. Dry lease is much economical compared to the wet lease, because there the entire, the negotiation and the economic of scale, the benefit derived out of that is enjoyed by the operator.
Okay. Next question, Nikunj Patil. What's the extent of current insurance coverage across aircraft and crew?
The insurance coverage goes on the Montreal, as per ICAO requirements, goes on Montreal Convention. It's known as MC99. It's globally the same. So all the crews, all the passenger seats, and the aircrafts are covered under Montreal MC99.
Next question, Mukesh Panjwani. What is the lease tenure for the new aircraft being added to the fleet?
All are between 6 to 8 years.
Okay. Next, Cogent Invest. As you mentioned about bomb flight, how does you have planned the refueling and other operations as your fleet is not having that much endurance?
There are 2 or 3 things, as far as refueling and the rest goes. One, that we have a fully established system of operations, flight operations, ground operations, maintenance, engineering, who oversee, control, and manage all of this. That's point number one. As far as specific question to fueling is concerned, we also get contracts with fuel vendors for good discounts for refueling globally.
Oh. Next. Can multiple customers book one jet pooling if customers are open to it? If this is already prevalent, what percentage are individual bookings versus pools?
See, let us be very clear that, of course, if few people want to get together, different people open to charter together is most welcome. But generally, we have never seen this. It's all mostly families or business colleagues all traveling together. The different unknown individuals coming together and picking up a seat and traveling is something we have never seen in this
And
business.
in
It's
India,
all bespoke.
and in India, NSOP cannot sell by seat.
Okay. Next. How much pre-IPO funding has helped the growth in last 1.5 years?
As mentioned, that in the last 1.5 years we have done 3 rounds of the the fundraising, and those fundraising has helped us to what do you call identify and expand our business and leave deposits for the newer acquisitions, and that's what it is, and the complete details are given in the RHP.
Okay. Next. When you get the lease of your Embraer Legacy 600, and what is the monthly lease for the same?
The existing lease, or okay, fine. I mean, I presume that the question is towards the existing lease, and it is $100,000, $110,000 per month.
Next question. Chirag Pancha. What are the risks associated with scaling a premium brand in a price-sensitive Indian market?
Sir, as my friend Kannan told earlier, in the private jet business, it's not price sensitive. It's value for money that runs. So when there is value for money, this business runs very well. It's not price sensitive at all.
Next. What is the average age and remaining lease tenure of your fleet?
So the average, the Indian government permits, the NSOP operators to bring in private jets under the age of 18 years. And the assets, whatever we have identified, is or planning to induct is all between, 12 to 15 years of age. And that's the kind of, the overall average, the fleet, age will be.
Okay. Next question. Mukesh Panchwani, how do you plan to amortize the rupees 80 crore capex allocated for the new fleet?
So in the object class, we have very in detail we have given where and for asset, lease deposits, and various line items, how the money is going to spend is in detail has been given in the thing. Majority of the funds, whatever we are generating through the IPO, is going to be used towards the fleet expansion. And there is a 7.5 crores, is the pre-closure of a term loan, and the entire details are given in the object class of our RHP.
Okay. Next. Krisha Damrani, thank you, FlySBS team. All the best for your. Thank you for great prompt number. I think we have covered majority of the questions. Thank you, Deepak sir. Thank you, Kannan sir. Thank you, Ambassador sir. And thank you, Tushar sir. All the best for the day. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.